Hi, this is Kiana Miner. Welcome to the Crazy Courage webinar, where we are busting success myths and learning how to live more courageously. Today, I am so excited. We have with us Natalie Ledwell. Natalie is an author, she's a speaker, and she's also the founder of Mind Movies. This is a program that helps you create a digital vision board. I've actually used the program myself years ago when I was still in corporate America. And after using the program for, I would say, about 3 months consistently, I was able to quit my job. In my first year in business, I made over $100,000. So it's an amazing program. More than 1.3 million people have downloaded this program. Natalie was able to crawl out of a debt of $120,000 in credit card debt and build a multi-million dollar business. So I'm really excited that we're going to be talking with her today. Welcome, Natalie.
Hi, Kiana. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Very excited. So, Natalie, why don't we start by, I know when people hear those statistics, you sold 1.3 million products, you are a multimillionaire now. I know when people hear that, they may be thinking, oh, I can't relate to that. She's so successful. Could you maybe start out by telling us, your story, how you got to where you are?
Yeah, well, and like all good things that happen in life, it happened completely by accident.
Mm-hmm.
It actually was born out of a monumental moment of frustration.
Okay.
I remember in 2006 sitting at my home office, my desk, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at all these bills and I'm looking at my bank account on the computer screen. I'm like, I am missing some vital piece of information here
Okay.
because, I'd been a student of personal development since I was 21. I was setting goals, I was thinking positively, I was
Right.
taking action. Actually, my husband and I had four businesses. We had three coffee franchises and a health food business we were running at the time.
Okay.
So it wasn't like we were inactive. It's just things just weren't falling into place.
Okay.
And then not long after that, I'm like, I need to figure out the answer to this.
Right.
And I came across a movie called The Secret,
Mhm.
which explained the law of attraction to me in a way that I understood for the first time.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, now I get it.
Right. Right.
And I think my biggest epiphany from that movie was that I didn't need to know the whole plan.
Okay.
All I needed to know was that what the end result was and what I wanted to create, and then just start some action in that direction.
Okay.
And when I had a very clear and consistent, picture in my mind of where I wanted to end up, things would just serendipitously fall into place.
Okay.
Chance meetings and amazing things that you could never plan for in a million years.
Right. Right.
And then not long after that, a friend of mine showed me this little movie that he'd created, which was like affirmations and photos and music combined.
Okay.
And it was his version of a vision board.
Okay.
And I knew how important it was for me to be able to see this future in my mind. So I'm like, you have to show me how to do this.
Right.
And then not long after that, he had so many people asking him to show them how to create these movies that he came to my then husband and I and said, look, I think we should set up a website. Would you like to, do this with me?
Mhm.
And of course, I'm laughing. I mean, we had four businesses.
Right.
We had no time for another business, and we knew nothing about the internet. I mean, Glenn couldn't even turn on a computer,
Wow.
and I only ever used the computer for bookkeeping, and this is early 2007.
Okay.
But it was a great idea, and we decided to run with it and
Mhm.
apply what we knew about the law of attraction. And then within a few short years, we've gone from an $800 investment of a mate to do the website to
Mhm.
creating a multi-million dollar company. So
Okay. That's
yeah.
amazing. I love that story. And you talked about something that I think is so important, which is letting go of control. I know even for me, that's like the hardest part because I'm just like, okay, I don't have to see the whole thing, but if I could see the whole thing, I'd feel so much more comfortable. How do you do that? How do you say, I'm going to surrender the process?
I think I've applied law of attraction that many times to so
Okay.
many big, huge things in my life that I just now I'm in such a place of trust,
Okay.
that I know that even if it doesn't work out the way that I think it's going to work out, which believe me, it never does.
Right.
And if even if it doesn't, completely look exactly what I'm thinking in my mind, I know that whatever does turn out for me
Right.
is always the way it was supposed to be anyway.
Okay.
And I always find that my biggest breakthroughs come when I completely let go and go, okay, you know what? Even if this doesn't come to fruition for me, even if this doesn't manifest in my life,
Okay.
I'm still okay with it. And of course, that's when the last hurdle will be overcome, and I actually get across the finish line.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say in your story and in your background, if you had to define your most courageous moment, what would that be?
You know what? It's really hard for me to find one moment because to me, life is experience.
Right, right.
If you're not pushing the envelope and feeling life in all of its experience, then you're missing out. You're staying inside your comfort zone, and it's a pretty boring place to be.
Okay.
So I've done things like skydiving and bungee jumping and hang gliding off the cliffs in Rio and running with the bulls in Pamplona and all of those kind of crazy things just for the experience.
Right.
I left my hometown and my seven brothers and sisters and my mum and dad when I was 18, and I moved to Sydney. I didn't know a soul.
Wow.
But it was just I knew that I had to do that. But I think the biggest courageous thing that I've done, in my later years is definitely when we decided to, bite off more than we could chew and then just chew like hell when it came to the whole My Movies opportunity. Because once we had set up the website and we put a little video on YouTube, we were getting that many emails from people saying this is changing my life. We're like, okay, we need to really pay attention to this.
Okay.
And so we thought we have to get good at this internet thing. Like, how do we do this internet marketing thing?
Okay.
And we ended up buying a product online that taught us what to do. And the guy that did the product said, he was doing a live event in April of 2008 in San Diego.
Okay.
So we decided to pack up. We came over to the US. We committed to being here for 6 months.
Okay.
I left my 2 dogs. We left our house. Glenn's brother stepped in and was running our businesses for us.
Okay.
So we had this whole life that we're trying to maintain, back in Australia.
Wow.
And we're over here on what we call on the smell of an oily rag. We had no money, but we had credit cards.
Okay.
And so we put everything on the line. We knew that we had to surround ourselves with people that knew what they were doing. We ended up, this guy, Frank Kern, was the guy that ran the event.
Yeah.
We ended up joining his mastermind group.
Okay.
All of our friends were internet marketers, and we just became sponges for 6 months.
Okay.
We worked from our bedroom for like 12 to 14 hours a day.
Okay.
We were learning things that were so far outside our comfort zone that we didn't have a comfort zone.
Okay.
I remember the day Ryan said to me, he goes, okay, you've got to learn how to edit videos. I'm like, okay. So he gives me this program to download on my computer.
Right.
Like I'm 40, right? And I think I'm, got all the skills I need. I open up this program. All I know how to use is Word and Excel.
Okay.
And I'm looking at this program going, you have got to be kidding me. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. But, I just had to work it out because we had no other option because we didn't have money to pay anyone for it.
Okay.
So by the time we got to the morning of our launch, this was in September 2008,
Right.
we'd racked up $120,000 on credit cards.
Right.
We still had the mortgage and car repayments and everything back home.
Wow.
And so to say that it had to be a success was an understatement.
Okay.
Otherwise, we were in trouble.
Okay.
And as it turned out, the launch ended up falling on the week that the economic crisis hit the planet in September of 2008.
Okay. What planning? Wow.
I know. Well, who even knew that was possible? But I am very happy to report that we had a very successful week. Our community grew from 8,000 to 80,000 in our pre-launch week,
Okay.
and we ended up doing just under a $700,000 week of our launch.
Okay.
So it was a success, although everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Right.
We had, our email provider closed down our account. They closed down for maintenance the morning of the launch, which meant that no one was getting any confirmation emails. So we had 3,000 customer support emails. We had to use PayPal. Ended up freezing our account halfway through launch week, and then at the end decided to keep the money. In the end, 6 months later, we had to get an attorney involved and threatened to sue them because we nearly went bankrupt. Because we had they actually released enough for us to be able to pay for postage and a few other things, but we couldn't even pay our affiliates. We had to take out a loan when we went back to Australia. It was, we were like this close to not making it.
Right. In that, all those unexpected challenges that came up, did you feel like giving up?
No, because failure was not an option.
Okay.
Because the other alternative, if things didn't work out, was not something that we even wanted to entertain in our thought process.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, to us, our mantra was there's a solution to every challenge.
Okay.
And the thing is, when that is your first fallback thought, and
Mhm.
that's exactly what you're focusing on every time a challenge comes up,
Okay.
then you won't just find one solution. There'll be many solutions for you.
Okay.
And one of the smartest things we did was to really surround ourselves with people who were an amazing support to us.
Okay.
So when like our email provider closed down our account, Frank got
Mhm.
straight on the phone and helped them reinstate it.
Oh
Um,
wow.
you know, when I had 3,000 customer support emails, and a whole bunch of friends come around and help me to clear the inbox.
Okay.
So there was many things that we did, and even when we had like, you know, we couldn't figure something out, we
Mhm.
had this amazing mastermind group of people around us that we could always go to and ask advice.
Okay.
So that really helped to fast track our success. So
Okay,
yeah.
that's awesome. You know, I think it's amazing that you said when you opened up the computer to work this program to edit video that you didn't know what you were doing because now you have an internet TV show, right?
I do, I
Okay.
do. But and you know, it's really funny. It depends on who you ask about what type of company we have. Like
Mhm.
if you ask Glenn, he says we have a direct marketing company
Okay.
because you know the marketing department is what he looks after in the business.
Okay.
If you ask Ryan, he says, you know, we have this technology company because we built the software that you know that the mind movies are created from, and our email delivery system,
Mhm.
and all these other things. So we have all this technology that we own. But if you
Okay.
ask me,
Right.
I say that we're a transformational, you know, personal development company because that's the
Ah.
message and that's my department. So
Okay.
we are kind of all three of those things.
Right. Right. You're just each responsible for different parts of it.
Exactly.
Okay. Along the years, what are your self care techniques? Like, what are the things that you do to stay balanced and to stay in touch?
You know what? I have a fantastic routine that I start every day off with.
Okay.
And I think if you talk to any successful person, they have a very
Mhm.
similar, you know, routine.
Okay.
I know on my in my inspiration show,
Mhm.
I used to do a segment called Passion Peeps. And so all the successful people that I know, I'd always ask them, you know, what is your daily routine? What keeps you on track?
Okay.
And everyone basically said the same things.
Mhm.
And the first thing I do is that when I wake up in the morning, I focus on what I'm grateful for.
Okay.
You know, I have a moment when I'm first waking up. You know, I think about, you know, how grateful I am that I have the life, that I get to reach the people that I do, that I get to live this, you know, incredible life. Because never in a million years could I have dreamt up the life that I get to live now.
Mhm.
Um, I always get up. I exercise first thing in the morning.
Okay.
I always listen to some kind of educational material, like an audio book or something, while I'm exercising. So I'm getting both of those at the same time.
Mhm.
Have a good stretch and everything. And then after a nutritious breakfast, I make sure that I meditate before I even start working.
Okay.
And so what that does is that, you know, and even the night before, I'll set up, you know, and I'll have an idea of what I'm doing the next day, so
Mhm.
that my subconscious mind can mull over it during the evening.
Okay.
And so in the mornings, you know, when I'm first waking up, I find that as we're waking up and we're going to sleep, we're in theta brainwave activity, which means we're very receptive to
Okay.
being able to tap into that higher consciousness.
Okay.
So normally I find that my brain starts to kick in very quickly, even before my eyes are open, and
Okay.
it's already starting to sort out how I'm going to, you know, tackle the
Mhm.
chores that I've set myself for that day and what I'm doing to move closer to whatever goal I'm working towards.
Mhm.
So I think that if you start the day off with a really good routine like that,
Right.
it sets you up for success for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that sounds like a great routine.
Yeah.
Would you say that the law of attraction has become second nature to you now? Like, is it something you just don't even think about?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you know, and the thing is too, it's like you know, knowing law of attraction is one thing, but living it is something completely different.
Interesting.
You know,
Okay.
and I've proven it time and time again that it actually, you know, it does come into play all the time. So
Okay.
for me, it's just second nature. You
Mhm.
know, I'll start a project and I have no idea what I'm doing or how I'm going to complete it, but it doesn't bother me because I know that things will start to reveal themselves as I'm moving forward towards that.
Okay.
So to me, it's completely second nature.
Okay, that's awesome. That's very similar to how this actual project started. It started as an idea, and I was like, okay, for once, I'm not going to know how it's going to turn out, and I'm just going to follow the intuitive hunches and the nudges and whatever direction I should take it in, and then it's manifested into this. So I think it's. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. Because that's the
Mhm.
thing. I know for many of us, if we take the time, the quiet time,
Mhm.
to tap into that, that intuition, to tap into that, that higher consciousness, to be still enough to ask the question and then wait for the answer to come to us. You'll be amazed at some of the ideas and the things that come to us. And I remember seeing an interview on Facebook. It was actually a couple of years ago now. The people at Facebook were interviewing Oprah, and it was actually for the Facebook staff, but they actually posted it on the site.
Okay.
And the woman that was interviewing Oprah was asking her about the new network. And Oprah was saying how she's made it mandatory for everyone that works for the network to take 20 minutes of quiet time every single day.
Wow.
She goes, we were calling it meditation. She goes, then we just decided to call it quiet time.
Okay.
Because when you can sit alone in your thoughts and be quiet enough to listen to, detach from the din of the day and sit alone in your thoughts, especially if you have a challenge that you're trying to face and trying to figure out, that is where you'll get the inspiration and the smart ideas to be able to know what direction to take to be able to, solve those challenges.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. How has this, we've talked about how it's changed your business. How has it changed your personal life?
Mind movies?
Mind movies and the law of attraction.
Back in the when we were doing the launch in 2008, I remember when we were particularly stressed. And we were stressed all the time, but when we were really atomically stressed, we'd jump in the car and we'd go down, we'd grab a coffee, and we were staying in Ocean Beach in San Diego at the time, and then we'd drive down to the dog beach and we'd sit there and we watch all the dogs happily playing on the beach. And it's nothing like seeing happy dogs running around to really help you to make you feel happy as well. But we'd have these discussions in present tense as if the launch was already done and it was already a massive success. So we talked about, the type of customers that we were creating and the amount of, revenue that we were creating, the respect we were getting from our peers, how we could eat out at 5-star restaurants, how we could take our families on holidays, all those amazing things. And we talk as if it was already happening so we could get into that vibrational match of that reality. And I used to think about how amazing life would be. But the life that I get to live right now, I could never have dreamt this in a million years. I get to live in California and, and then I still get to go home to Sydney a couple of months a year to see my family in our summer. So I haven't seen winter for like 8 years, which is, it's completely unnecessary if you ask me. But the amount of people that we've been able to reach with this message and actually have a 12-week program I deliver online, and every single day I go in there and somebody else is telling me how their life is completely changed because they've just, understood the information for the first time and have been able to apply it and completely change the trajectory of their life. We've just created a Mind Movies for Kids version as well, and some of the results that we can see from that are just incredible. And I've just been on a holiday. I've just been in Europe, and I was on a cruise around Croatia. With people like Jack Canfield and Lisa Nichols and Stuart Emery and people of that caliber, and to be included in a group of people who I would consider to be my heroes and my mentors. This life I could never have dreamt up. So to say that it has far exceeded my expectations, and it's really helped me to realize that there really is no dream too big or no reality too big that we can't achieve if we really put our minds to it and really want it for ourselves.
Okay. I love the joy in your eyes when you talk about your life. Like, it's just amazing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just amazing. What are some of the stories that you've heard of how this has affected other people? Like, are there some that stand out in your mind of some of the positive results people have gotten with Mind Movies?
Yeah, I have some really funny stories, and I have some really heartwarming stories. Actually, when I've just been in London, and I had lunch with 10 of the people who've gone through my USM or my 12-week program, and how one woman has created a similar program that she's teaching in primary schools. Helping kids to focus on how I can rather than I can't. Another woman is teaching, again, this type of material to the, generational unemployed in London, to help give them hopes they can see somewhere out of their situation. I had one woman who her name is Maria, and she's on the side of the US. I'm not particularly sure what state she's in, but she was homeless. Her husband had died, so she was a widow. She had no money because all the money of his estate was all caught up in red tape with the government. And so she was in a shelter at the time, and she was in the library. She came across my program, and so she would hitchhike in the snow every week just so she could get to the library so she could watch the next lesson or the next module and do her homework and use the computers at the library. And by the end of the 12 weeks, not only had she reached her monetary goal of $100,000, which, came out of the estate, but she found an incredible apartment. I remember 2 days before she got this apartment, she was starting to get fearful. She's like, I can't find anywhere to live. I did find one place and it was perfect for me. She goes, but the guy wouldn't, let it to me because she doesn't have a W-2 and she's a financial risk because of all the money issues that she's been having. And this is a awesome story of how the law of attraction and how these events can fall into place that you can't plan for. So he'd said no. She'd seen other places and she was very disheartened. And I'm like, just stay the course. It will happen for you. Just keep your focus. It'll happen. The next day, she messages me and she goes, you're not going to believe this. But that night, the guy who owned the amazing apartment saw a special on Maya Angelou. And in this special, Maya was saying how she always gives people second chances because when she was young, she had to become a sex worker so she could earn money. And she always believed when she got her second chance, she would always give someone a second chance. So this guy rings up Maria and says, look, because of that show, he goes, all right, I'm going to take a second chance. I'll give you a second chance. We're going to take a chance on you. And she moved into that apartment. So, and now she's painting and writing and living the life of her dreams. So.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very sweet. I see right behind you, there's love. I see the word love.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what all this has to do with like self-love? Like, could you tie those together to me? Just talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, when it comes to manifesting anything in our life, and we can talk about the logistics of, visualizing and seeing this new, reality in our mind, but we also need to feel the emotions of it as well. It's very important that we can step into that new version of us and this new reality and through emotion, because emotion is the language that the universe understands. Emotion is vibration. And when you can visualize regularly and feel the emotion, step into the emotion or the vibration of this particular reality that you want to create, and your thoughts and your actions are in alignment with that, you resonate at a certain frequency out into the universe, and then whatever is a vibrational match to that then gets attracted back to you, which is how the law of attraction works. But before we can even create this amazing reality, we have to be in a positive vibration first. We have to be in a vibration of at least gratitude and self-love. Because if not, all we're doing is we're sitting in this negative vortex of this negative vibration of the situation that we're in, and at best, we may be able to find a solution to our current situation, but we don't see the big picture. We don't blast right past that into something that's even way more wonderful than that. And so being in this place of self-love and in this positive vibration is everything. It's key. It's completely key to the whole process of manifesting. And it's the one part that a lot of people forget, that we think that, if we just see it, it will happen, but we have to feel it as well. And so when we can be in that vibration of self-love and gratitude, that's when magic things happen.
Okay. Now, when people say, but there's nothing positive happening around me, should I just fake it until I feel it? What would you say to that? I mean, is there value in using positive affirmations and kind of saying positive things, even if you're not feeling it at the time? Is there value in that?
Well, I agree when a lot of people say, look, I don't want to stand in front of a mirror and recite affirmations when they're not true. And I completely agree. But see, to me, that's not how you use an affirmation. See, an affirmation is to help you visualize. And when you visualize, you have to see this event or this life already happening, which is why when you use an affirmation, it has to be written in present tense as if it's already happening, so that you can read that. And of course, with a mind movie, it's like the affirmation and then the image. And then, of course, when we add the music, so that helps to instill the emotion. You need to be able to write it in present tense and then be able to see it in your mind. You don't have to say it out loud, but it has to describe this amazing new life that you're going to be creating for yourself, manifesting for yourself. Now, if everything seems to be going wrong about you, the more you focus on that, the more you create more of that, because that's what you're focusing on. So, I mean, I think that regardless of all the bad things that can be happening in your life, I'm sure that everyone can find at least a few things to be grateful for. And if you're finding it hard to even grapple for a couple of things to be grateful for, all you need to do is turn on the news and look at what other people in other parts of the world are having to deal with right now. And realize and even be grateful that you're not in that situation, or grateful that you have freedom, or grateful that you have safety, grateful that you get to drink clean water, and that you have food at your disposal. Like, there are so many things for us to be grateful for, and as soon as you can focus on that, then that will start to expand. And even in the worst of situations, there's always something that you can find in that situation that can be turned around into something that's more positive. And the more that we try and look for that, then the more that will expand. It's like if you're in a relationship that and things aren't going well and you're fighting all the time, and the more you fight, the more you're focusing on that. But if you spend a couple of minutes a day just thinking about, well, what do I love about this person? Why did I fall in love with this person? What do I love about them? And the more you focus on that things, the more that expands, and the better relationship comes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Is that one of the motivations behind your show? Just trying to put more positive out into the world?
Absolutely. And you know what? And a lot of it is, yes, I have a lot of the gurus on the show, but then I have some, regular everyday people that have, gone through some extraordinary events and have incredibly inspiring stories. And the reason I share those stories is because I want people to be able to listen to these shows and go, wow, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And really help to motivate them and inspire them to be able to step up and, and maybe get out of that boring old comfort zone and step into something that's, a little bit better. And then once you do that, then step into something a little bit better. I think, especially if you're challenged and you're finding things a little bit difficult, just start small and then keep moving out to that. And then you create this momentum. And then you find yourself saying things like, wow, everything always falls into place for me. I mean, everything always falls into place for me, but that's because I expect it so. Yeah.
Awesome. So if people want to learn more about you and more about your work, where can they go?
Yeah, so we've actually set up a special gift page for everyone that's, watching the show at the moment. And if they go to mindmovies.com/crazy courage, is it Crazy Courage? Yes.
Crazy Courage,
Yep. And then on that page, what we've done is we've set up a link there so that you can get access to 6 pre-made mind movies. So these movies are already made for you. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is download them. And they're on the subjects of health, wealth, attracting the perfect guy, attracting the perfect girl, spirituality, and family relationships.
Those are probably the 6 big ones, yeah.
There's 6 big ones, exactly. And all you need to do is you can download these. You can watch them on your computer. You can download them to your phone or your tablet. And you can watch them. If you watch them on a daily basis, what happens is that when you start to watch these movies, it starts to help you to sit into this new reality and then create these new visuals in your mind of what it is that you want to create for yourself. And like we said before, once you do that repetitively and feel those emotions, you become a vibrational match to the health that you want or the wealth that you want to attract. And then you find everything falling into place for you so that you can create a life beyond your wildest dreams.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Natalie. Did you have any final thoughts on courage or the law of attraction?
I think when we all realize that we are more powerful than we think, we have complete control over the outcomes in our life. And we always have a movie playing in our mind. And if we can be very conscious about, changing that mind movie to something positive and something that we do want rather than something that we don't, you will be amazed at the things that will be able to come to you, and the happiness and the joy and the, and the wealth and the relationships that you can attract for yourself.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Natalie. Thank you for being here and thank you for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye bye.